Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to change the way the world eats. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, performance coach, and just someone with a lot of passion for sharing my knowledge, my expertise with you guys so you can use nutrition and lifestyle tools to look, feel, and do your absolute best. Guys, happy Monday! It's new week, new beginning, and every Monday I like to start with something motivational and also some tools that will help you to get the most out of this week. And the most meaning, what feels the most meaningful, what can make this week, this day, this morning the most meaningful, right? And a lot of it, how we are able to design for meaning, a lot of it has to do with the questions that we ask ourselves and then where those questions lead us. So to give you an example, today is Monday, and every morning actually, what I do is I ask myself this question: what will make this day meaningful? What will make it feel meaningful to me? If I were to accomplish just a couple of things to invest my time, energy, my mental resources into just a couple of things to make my day meaningful, like what would those things be, right? And put them first in your calendar. If it's something personal and you have to work first thing in the morning, then maybe do a mini version of that, right? I don't know, send a text to that person that, let's talk in the evening, or whatever that might be. Just do some action, take some action towards those couple of most meaningful results or things you want to accomplish. Put them first, take some actions, and ask this question at the end of each of your day. And also, a couple of other questions that I found to be very useful in my life recently. And the more I ask them and I pause and I slow down to really think about that and give myself meaningful answers, the better my life seems to start working. So a couple of other questions are: before taking what feels like a rushed action or making a rush decision, I slow down, I stop, and I ask myself, if what you're about to do leads you towards the life you want to live more of, like if this action actually leads me to where I want to go. To give you a very simple example from personal life, sometimes, like probably any other person living in the modern world, I have this cravings for, I don't know, piece of cookie or a lot of cookies, or a piece of pizza or some conventional ice cream. But then I ask myself, is it gonna lead me towards the life that I want to lead? Like that kind of choice, not the ice cream itself. If you do something once in a blue moon, it doesn't change a lot of things. But is this choice what I'm trying to accomplish here? Maybe I'm trying to help myself relax or unwind with, some ice cream, for example. But is this choice something that I want to cultivate? Do I want to make more of those choices? Or do I actually want to find a way to make myself feel better, more relaxed, chilled, recovered, not, wound up? Is there another way I can figure out that will serve all of my other goals? I don't have any girls, but all of my other goals much better, right? And that's what matters. Like, is this pattern, do I want to keep doing it? Or do I want to develop something that serves me better? And hey, I'm not saying that having ice cream once in a while or whatever it is you want is bad in any way for you. In moderation, anything can be part of a healthy, balanced life. But what I'm trying to say here is enjoying ice cream for the sake of experience is one thing. When we start using it as a way to distress, relax, and forget about things instead of actually addressing the issues, that's where the problems start. And that's what a lot of people do. I used to do it all the time before, I realized it just wasn't working in my life. I had to address certain issue first, not with ice cream because that's not going to solve anything, but with actions that feel uncomfortable, with crucial, uncomfortable conversations with people, with sometimes going through some painful experiences, or just suffering a little bit for the sake of growth. So that question, is this what I'm about to do? Does this lead to the life I want to live more of? And there are also 3 questions that I ask myself every night. It's actually quite a recent practice, but I love it. It's simple and it makes me feel really good no matter how tired I might be at the end of the day. So 3 questions. Number 1, what is one thing that made me happy today? That made me smile, which is just one thing. It can be a really small thing, like maybe somebody helped me with my groceries or gave me a flower. It can be a really simple thing, or it can be something really big. Maybe this is the day when something really amazing happened. So remember about that before going to bed. Whatever that is, that will put a smile on your face right then and there. The second question is, who did I help today? And if I, on some days, can't find anyone that I help with anything, just of generosity, of kindness of my heart, then it means that next day I need to look a little bit harder for opportunities to help. And there are always opportunities, guys, whether it's letting somebody to go first or saying yes to somebody's request where you would usually say no because it's, procedure. That's how things work here. So that question at night, very often I do have people that I help. I'm like, because of this, that person's day got a little bit better, right? On those days, it feels really good. And then it motivates me to seek opportunities to do more of that the next day because it makes me feel good, right? And the third question is, let me actually remember the third question. Yeah, as you can see, this is a recent practice for me, so I still have to look up things. So the third question is, what am I excited about tomorrow? Again, it can be something as simple as, I got this new fruit that I want to try. I'm really excited about to try it when I break my fast. Or I got this new dancing masterclass online, and I'm really excited to try some of those dance moves. And you can actually watch me dancing on my recent reel I put out on Instagram this Saturday. So 3 questions. What am I grateful for? Something that put a smile on your face today. Who did I help? And what am I excited about the next day? Can be really big or really small or somewhere in between. So questions, guys. Questions shape our decisions, our frame of mind, our attitude towards life. It also shapes the attitude of other people, right? So if you want a certain person feel and behave in a certain way, ask them certain questions. Ask them about things that will make them feel like, if you want, for example, somebody to be a little bit more kind or a little bit more positive. So ask them, wouldn't you remember, wasn't that great when we did this? Or isn't this great that in this world we have so much mobility and information is available at the tips of our fingerprints? Like whatever can make this person think positively. Ask them that question and they will start thinking positively without you having to say, think more positive. That never actually works, right? We know that. We just find more reasons to be negative just to counteract that and have some autonomy. But instead, ask questions and see how magically people will start feeling and behaving the way you want. But besides that, guys, questions aside, I want to talk to you about fasting today and how fasting can help you to stay more motivated, can help you, of course, to manage your calories, to manage your weight, to improve your metabolic health. But it can also compromise your good decisions and can give you a reputation of being a cranky morning person. When you start intermittent fasting, prolonged intermittent fasting, for a lot of people, stress hormones, like specifically adrenaline, norepinephrine, they will rise. For some people, also cortisol will be kind of a little bit out of place. And a lot of those like stress hormones will rise, especially again at the beginning. If you've been practicing fasting for a long time, that's a different story. Your body is kind of used to that, so it doesn't raise any alarms. When you're starting out, that's a protocol, especially if you fast a lot and do, a lot of training on top of that, and maybe your life is quite stressful at the moment. So fasting can increase levels of adrenaline, of cortisol, of a lot of stress hormones. And so you might end up, when you fast, being a cranky person. You might end up being not that optimistic. You might end up not taking opportunities. You might end up saying more no's to people and opportunities and situations where yes, would work better long term. You are in more defense mode than offense or seizing opportunities or helping people or seeing positive side of things. That's just how your biology gonna influence your mind frame. There have been studies where they took judges who, say you're guilty or you're not guilty. And they did this observational studies. And so statistically, judges make more positive outcome decisions after lunch. And they make the worst kind of decisions statistically. If you take the amount of decisions they make and then you count the positive outcome decisions towards the person on the other side and negative. So the best outcomes are after lunch and the worst outcomes are before lunch. When people are hungry, they want to get out of the situation as soon as possible, whether they realize it or not. That's how our biology works. Whenever you start getting hungry and your body feels like we are getting out of resource and there is this work to do, whenever we are feeling like we are running out of resources, whenever we are hungry, we are more negative. And so judges would make decisions that are more negative before lunch and much more positive after lunch. And so if you are doing some sort of meeting or brainstorming things or looking into different opportunities when you're hungry, or you need to make a decision that is quite complex, that requires your brain to analyze a lot of stuff that recently happened or a lot of data, you might consider having some food. You might consider having some banana, maybe a couple of eggs for that protein, and acetylcholine for that is important neurotransmitter for memory, learning, attention. So protein, healthy fats, maybe a handful of walnuts for those essential omega-6s and omega-3s, fatty acids. So have some food in your stomach for your brain to work well. And specifically, those three groups have some carbohydrates. Glucose is the main fuel for your brain. Your nervous system is very demanding when it comes to glucose, when it comes to fuel. Have some essential fats, omega-3s, omega-6s. Walnuts are the best sources of that. And have some protein, of course. And eggs are great because they also have a bunch of vitamins and minerals and that choline that is important for acetylcholine neurotransmitter that is again one of the major in our brain. So have this food, a couple of eggs, a banana, maybe some oatmeal if you like that more for those carbohydrates and fiber, those a couple of eggs, handful of walnuts, and then get into that meeting. Then get to analyze all these things to make better decision. And then look into possible opportunities because your biology will dictate your mental state and your capacity to make well-balanced decisions. And that's across the board, guys. That's not just for me or for you or for anyone else. It's just for everyone. Our brain, our whole body works better, hands down, no question about it, when you have essential nutrients available. And then, another day, do more fasting, do less fasting, maybe switch the time of your fasting. So fasting, again, can be a very useful tool, but it can also skew your worldview and your decisions and your patience, and your ability to evaluate different opportunities, it can also skew it in a way that might not be that beneficial for you, your company, people around you long term. So just be aware of that and make appropriate changes, whatever makes sense in your life. If you have any questions about that, how can you maybe possibly reschedule, design your fasting schedule if you're into that, or what can you do to be in the most optimal state for any kind of work, any kind of decisions, meetings. If you have any questions about that, I do brain performance coaching. That's what I mainly do right now. I help people to get into states, in the optimal states for the task at hand, to deliver the best possible outcome, to create the environment that puts you in the position to create the best possible biological state so you can make the best possible decisions and deliver the best possible work. So reach out if you have a question about that. But about fasting, just be aware of that. And when I say that fasting can actually help with motivation, it can do that via two ways or routes. Number one, it actually makes your dopamine receptors more sensitive. So what it means is you are more likely to use the dopamine that your brain creates to get you into action in a more robust way, to get yourself going. Because when you're fasting, it's also a signal for the body to go get those resources, get shit done, take action. And then also that's why your adrenaline raises, because that's another neurotransmitter of action, of focus, of working on tasks to get things done, again, to improve, to increase resources, right? It's the combination of this puts you a little bit in a stress state. Again, the amount of stress will probably depend on how experienced you are with fasting. But just be aware of that can increase your motivation, that can increase your focus, but it can also put yourself a little bit on edge in a stressed kind of way, not necessarily the state that you want to be at when you're trying to evaluate opportunities or make best possible decisions for everyone involved in your team, in your company, or just people around you or at the meeting. And that's it for today, guys. Fasting, motivation, and don't forget, at the beginning we talked about the right kind of questions. Use questions to shape people's views and mind frames in a desired for you way, hopefully beneficial for all of you. That's what we're all about, win-win situation, not just selfishly shaping other people's mind in the desired for you way, right? But also shape your own focus, your own worldview, your own attitude to life and direction with the right kind of questions. A lot of times we don't feel mentally that well because we ask ourselves, very often not aware of that, stupid questions. Like, why does it always happen to me? Your brain will find the answers. So do not ask stupid questions yourself. Ask, what can I learn in this situation? What good can come out of the situation? And see the smile appearing on your face. And from that state of optimistic confidence, you can accomplish many more things than thinking about all the bad things that can and could and did happen, right? And that's it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having an open mind and learning and improving, changing the way, also the world around you, helping other people get better, do better. So thank you. Have an awesome, inspiring Monday. Use questions to shape your Monday and your life. And also fast if it suits the goal. Be aware that most things in life, not just good or bad, they're usually somewhere in between, depending on how you use them. So thank you guys for tuning in, and till next time, eat better daily.